Hey folks, welcome back to My Kitten Reads. I'm Eleanor and this is part 2 of my bookshelf tour. So it's December, it's the end of the year, I've finished work for the year yesterday and I'm about to go and visit my family tomorrow, and yeah, but I'm going to leave you with at least one more video. So yeah, so this will be part 2 of my bookshelf tour, being the 4th, 5th and 6th shelves in the bookshelf behind me, which is actually a few more books because the bottom shelf is like a really high, like a really big shelf, so I've stacked the books differently down there. But yeah, so this is the middle section of my fiction books. Yeah, so I guess we'll see how we go. So just to scroll down, that is shelf 4 with my Leah as Boosh Funko Pop and a bunch of soaps and like oil burning things. And then shelf number 5, which has again a whole bunch of Star Wars Funko Pops and other ornamental bits and pieces. And here we have shelf number 6, which has very, very high stacks of books and a whole bunch of Our Crate Later paperwork and my little Doctor Who Journal of Impossible Things. First up today we have Drowned Vanilla by Olivia Day. This is the second book. I do own the first book, A Trifle Dead, but it's been with a friend for a while, so I need to get that back. Robinson Crusoe by Daniel Defoe in the Norton Critical Edition. I bought this for classwork, didn't like it. Star by Star by Troy Denning. This is one of the few New Jedi Order books that I own from the Old Legends collection because the New Jedi Order was where it got really weird and I stopped reading. This is Defying Doomsday, and 12th Planet Press anthology for young adults edited by Sana Jalichva and Holly Kench. The Complete Sherlock Holmes Stories by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. This is a massive tome I carried around for a year as I tried to read all the stories. It's got all the short stories and all the novels. I also have this edition of A Study in Scarlet and The Sign of Four that I bought at the 221B Baker Street Museum in London. And a Penguin Sherlock Holmes collection edition of The Sign of Four, which I bought for classwork, which is why it is annotated. Asymmetry by Thoraya Dyer is another collection from the 12 Planets. Pride and Promiscuity, The Lost Sex Scenes of Jane Austen by Ariel Eckstadt. Didn't really like this. I didn't think it was particularly good quality. Bridget Jones's Diary by Helen Fielding. The novelisation of The Force Awakens by Alan Dean Foster. Raven's Queen by Pauline Francis. I bought this at the Tower of London and it is a novel about Lady Jane Grey. These are 2 of the Tor.com novellas by Sarah Gailey, River of Teeth and Taste of Marrow. Stardust by Neil Gaiman. The collection M is for Magic by Neil Gaiman. And Fortunately the Milk by Neil Gaiman, illustrated by Chris Riddell. An Australian classic, The Complete Adventures of Snugglepot and Cuddlepie by May Gibbs. The Princess Bride by William Goldman. Now We Are 600, a collection of Time Lord verse by James Goss, illustrated by Russell T Davies. Now we have my collection of Miss Fisher mysteries by Kerry Greenwood, starting with Cocaine Blues. Flying Too High. Murder on the Ballarat Train. Death at Victoria Dock. The Green Mill Murder, Blood and Circuses, Ruddy Gore, Urn Burial, Death Before Wicket, and The Castlemaine Murders. My Collins Classics edition of Grimm's Fairy Tales by Jacob Grimm and Wilhelm Grimm. One of my childhood books that I didn't read a lot of the series, but I read this one a lot. From the Peanut Butter and Jelly series, Two Friends, Too Many by Dorothy Haas. Another Star Wars novel, this is a one-off, Planet of Twilight by Barbara Handley. Another novel about Lady Jane Grey, My Lady Jane by Cynthia Hand, Brodie Ashton and Jodie Meadows. My copy of Dr. 11th, the 11th Doctor themed Mr. Men book. And then we have 2 more books from the 12 Planet series, The Female Factory by Lisa L. Hannett and Angela Slatter, and Showtime by Narelle M. Harris. And that is the 4th shelf of fiction. The first book on shelf 5 is Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb, the first in the Farseer trilogy. I'm still in the middle of the second book, so this is the only one on these shelves. Another random book I picked up as a teenager, it's a Nightmare Hall book called The Silent Scream by Diane Ho. It's a murder mystery. Here we have the Aspern Papers and The Turn of the Screw by Henry James. I've only read The Turn of the Screw. I bought this for my Gothic literature class. We have book 3 of the Bounty Hunter Wars hard merchandise by K.W. Jetta. I did read this whole series when I was a teenager, but I don't have it all. Illuminae by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. I own 2 Nancy Drew books, as I usually borrowed them from the library, so The Secret of Shadow Ranch and The Ringmaster's Secret by Carolyn Keene. The Final Prophecy by Greg Keyes. Again, this is the New Jedi Order, and I'm pretty sure this is the book I didn't finish and then left off reading. A classic Australian kids novel, Hating Alison Ashley by Robin Klein. The collection Kaleidoscope from 12 Planet Press, edited by Elisa Krasnostein and Julia Rios. The Tribe series by Amberlynn Quamelina, The Interrogation of Ashayla Wolf, The Disappearance of Ember Crow, and The Foretelling of Georgie Spider. And Catching Taylor Crow by Amberlynn Quamelina and Ezekiel Quamelina. Magic's Pawn by Mercedes Lackey. This is book 1 of the Last Herald Maid series. When I was reading these in uni, I mostly borrowed them from the library. I've been picking up copies, but they're sitting on my other shelves waiting to be reread before they come over here. The Adventures of Millie Molly Mandy, 4 books in 1 by Joyce Lancaster Priestley. I loved Millie Molly Mandy stories when I was a kid. By Ursula K. Le Guin, we have The Word for World is Forest, The Left Hand of Darkness, and The Earthsea Chronicles in omnibus form. The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mackenzie Lee. The Daughter of the Pirate King by Tricia Levenseller. 2 books from the Gymnasts series that I also loved as a teenager by Elizabeth Levy, First Meet and Go for Gold. In various second-hand editions, we have The Narnian Chronicles by C.S. Lewis, The Magician's Nephew, The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, The Horse and His Boy, Prince Caspian, The Voyage of the Dawn Treader, The Silver Chair, and The Last Battle. I was always one that grew up reading them in chronological order with internal chronology. I know a lot of people prefer to read them in publication order, but this is one of the foundational series of my little fanish life. I have read them so many times. This is The Monk by Matthew Gregory Lewis. I bought it for my Gothic literature class. I enjoyed the first half, and then it just went it was awful. Meet Me at the Intersection, a collection of intersectional YA fiction in Australia, edited by Rebecca Lim and Amberlynn Quamelina. This is a steampunk short fiction collection, edited by Kelly Link and Gavin J. Grant. The final 2 books in this on this shelf don't really have a place. So we have Bag Enders by Lady Alyssa and Random Flatmate, which is a bound-up edition of some fan fiction that a friend and I both loved, and my friend made up when it started to go missing, a bound edition, and she sent me a copy. And then we have this book, which is by my father, Kurina Kuara Milayathina. Probably haven't pronounced that correctly. The Place of the Eagle's Feather. It's his book on Indigenous and Christian theology. And here we have shelf number 6. Bear with me on this one. It's the bottom shelf. It's organised differently. We'll see how we go. We'll start with The Secret Lives of Books by Rosalind Love. This is another one in the 12 Planets collection. Doctor Who the Aztecs by John Lucarotti. Ransom by David Malouf, which is a classic Australian retelling of Greek mythology. Looking for Alibrandi by Marlena Marchetta. This is a classic Australian YA book. Doctor Who The Rescue by Ian Marter. Then I'm not going to get them all out, but the rest of this pile are my Babysitters Club books. As you can see, I have a lot. I do not have them all, but they are a mixture of the regular books, of the Little Sister books, the mysteries, the super mysteries, and the super specials. So yeah, there are a lot. They just sit there like that. But I can't quite make myself get rid of them. Maybe one day I can read them to my niece. Next, we have my hard copy editions of the encrypted novels by Seanan McGuire, so Pocket Apocalypse, Chaos Choreography, Magic for Nothing, and Tricks for Free. I only have the later ones in hard copy. I initially, I think, read the early ones in ebook. Continuing on the Seanan McGuire theme, we have my hardbacks of the School for Wayward Children's series, so which start with Every Heart a Doorway, Down Among the Sticks and Bones, Beneath the Sugar Sky, and In an Absent Dream. I love this series a great deal. It is very important to me. And of course, I have the next book upcoming already on pre-order. Then we have Wild Beauty by Anna Marie McLemore, Before She Ignites by Jodie Meadows, the first in the Fallen Isles trilogy, From Twinkle with Love by Sandeya Menon, and again from my childhood, Winnie the Pooh by A.A. Milne. Next comes another of my favourite classic series, Anne of Green Gables by L.M. Montgomery, which is followed by Anne of Avonlea, Anne of the Island, Anne of Windy Willows, Anne's House of Dreams, Anne of Ingleside, Rainbow Valley, and finally Rilla of Ingleside. To Spin a Darker Stair, which is a set of two short stories by Faith Mudge and Catherine M. Valenti with illustrations by Kathleen Jennings from Fablecroft. Newt's Emerald by Garth Nix. Uprooted by Naomi Novik. Starting off the final stack on this shelf, we have Binti by Nnedi Okorafor, which is the first novella in this trilogy, and Binti Night Masquerade, which is the third and concluding book. I just don't have the second book in hard copy. I also have The Book of Phoenix by Nnedi Okorafor, My People in the 4th edition, a collection of poetry by Ujuru. This is an incredibly important volume to me. One of the point fantasy series I read as a teenager by Jessica Palmer, Healer's Quest, Fire Wars, and Return of the Wizard. I'm kind of interested in rereading these, I think. I haven't read them for a long time. I have Toby Jones and the Magic Cricket Almanac by Michael Pankridge with Brett Lee, and a Sweet Valley Twins and Friends book by Francine Pascal called Jessica and the Earthquake. I mostly read Sweet Valley from the library, but I have a couple. More Sweet Valley. This is a Sweet Valley High called Almost Married, and a Sweet Valley saga called The Wakefields of Sweet Valley, which I loved a lot as a teenager, found again as an adult. It's not as emotional and good as I remember, unfortunately. Then we have the Starlit Wood anthology, New Fairy Tales, edited by Dominic Parisian and Narva Wolf. Robots vs. Fairies, an anthology edited by Dominic Parisian and Narva Wolf, the same two. And the Selected Poems of A.B. Patterson, which is an Australian classic. And now we have hit my rather large Tamora Pierce collection. On this shelf only has the first two quartets in the Tortallon series, so Alana the First Adventure, In the Hand of the Goddess, The Woman Who Rides Like a Man, and The Lioness Rampant completes the Song of the Lioness quartet. Then we have the quartet I started my Tamora Pierce journey with at age 11 with Wild Magic, Wolf Speaker, The Emperor Mage, and Realms of the Gods. Many of those are falling apart because I've been reading them since I was 11. In fact, I've had to replace my copy of Wild Magic, which is why it's a different cover. And that is the end of the 6th shelf of fiction in my collection. So that is part 2 of my bookshelf tour, where 2/3 of the way through my fiction collection. This video I will try and get up today. Whether or not there will be another video before the end of the year, I'm not sure because I'm going away. I'm going to see if I can figure out the whole uploading but setting to upload at a different to launch at a different time, and see if I can schedule another video. If so, it'll probably be the third part of this bookshelf tour. But yes, so that is part 2, and I will see you all again soon, I hope. Bye.